Podcast. Guys, this is the show for athletic development, complete athletic development. The objective here is to give you the tools to win, whether you're the athlete, the parent, or the coach. As always, I'm here with my co-host, Chris Scarborough. What's up, man?
Hey, what's up, guys?
We're already off to a better start than we were last episode. I feel good about this. All right. Yeah. So, guys, if you listen to the last episode, you understand that we're getting things back in gear. We're shaking the rust off. So, if you came to this episode, I appreciate you hanging on with a bumpy ride from the last one. But, yeah, so guys, if you're new to our show, welcome. I appreciate you joining. We are different than your standard show. You're actually going to find multiple different types of episodes within the show, all right? So first, you're going to get a Q&A from us. That was a bi-weekly thing. We'll try to maybe get back to that, but bi-weekly Q&A is exactly what it sounds like. You can submit your questions to us, and we'll tackle them on that episode. Those questions can be related to anything about strength conditioning, the neuro voodoo stuff, the rehab, nutrition, just trends in the market, any of that type of stuff. We'll tackle it. You can submit your questions. You can reach me at Instagram at FarmerJohnELP. And Chris, where can they get you?
Instagram, Fast and Agile 49.
Our second episode is a guest interview. That's like every other podcast on the planet. That is where we bring our friends, our colleagues on from across the globe, and they share their stories of success with what they do with their clients, their patients, and their facilities. And as I always say, it's ultimately an opportunity to network with somebody that shares the same core values and mission that we do. And that is what we got today, and I'll bring our guest on here in just a second. And then the next episode you'll get from us is going to be that, hopefully, an athlete spotlight if we can actually get them scheduled. And that's what we had a couple episodes ago with Drake Meeks. We've had a couple others over the years. I think we've had Brent Rooker on. We've had Ava Gooden, plays soccer at Northwestern. And we'll have a couple others on throughout the year. That is really the structure of the show, guys. We don't run ads on the show. All we do is we ask that if you got value out of this, if you learned something, if it made you laugh, then please just share the show, help spread the message. That's all we are asking. We're not asking you to comment below for a link to buy our book or to click in the bio to buy anything. That's just not how we're operating. So just share the show, help spread the message. And yeah, so pay your dues, share the show. And I think that's about all the housekeeping we got. Is that right, Chris?
That sounds good, John. You're already back on track.
That was fire.
That was fire. Absolutely.
That was so much better than last week. All right.
Go back and listen to the previous episode. You'll know what we're talking about.
Oh, it was terrible. All right. So, yeah. Well, without further ado, we're happy to bring on our guest, strength and conditioning coach outside of Pittsburgh, Coach Anthony Saletti. What's up, bro?
Woo-hoo!
Welcome.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Thanks.
Appreciate
Thanks
it.
for coming on.
I did pronounce that correct, did I?
Yes, sir. Yes,
awesome,
sir.
man. Cool. Well, I guess we're happy to have you on, man. I mean, I followed your content over the years. You know, I know you watched the show. We've had a couple interesting conversations. I know you connected with Chris. And so, yeah, today, man, like, have you been on a show before that I've missed?
No, first timer right here.
Okay, cool.
Nice. All right. Awesome.
All right, well, great. Well, we're going to set
Welcome.
the bar really low for you then, okay? And, yeah, so, man, I guess, like, let's just start out. Like, what is your role? What do you do? I know you're a coach, but, like, where do you coach? Share your story.
Yeah, right now I'm coaching at a private facility. We work mostly with elementary, middle school, high school athletes. We get some college athletes, do a little bit of Gen Pop, but just working there. Like I said, we have pretty much every sport we've worked with. So doing that, I also teach as well as my full-time job. I also work at another facility that I worked at in the past during like combine prep, draft prep. I go up there one day a week and kind of help him out with some of the speed stuff up there as well.
Cool.
Nice.
So
Awesome.
what's your story, man? Like, how'd you get into this field? I mean, like, let's start from the beginning.
All right. Well, I mean, I was always into sports growing up, played 3 sports in high school, played football in college. So I started getting into
Where'd you play football?
Indiana University of Pennsylvania, Division II school.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Yeah, played there, played a little bit of arena ball after, but started getting into training stuff in high school after my sophomore year of football. Started with one of my best friends. We decided after the season we're going to start lifting. His dad played at NC State back in the day, gave us his program. So we're lifting in his basement by the furnace,
Heck
getting
yeah.
after it. And, I mean, it wasn't the best stuff, but, I mean, we were getting after it, and so it was good. So then once I got into college, I kind of got interested in performance because I wanted to play better and, improve myself. And that's kind of when I got into the rabbit holes of like Parisi. The Freak of Training DVD came out before my sophomore year of college, so I put together, a bastardized Evo sport program. So that's
thanks for admitting that, though. At least
I mean,
you'd be shocked. I mean, how many people take credit for like, oh yeah, hey, this is
it worked, like, because I did it, and there's two other guys. One guy that I played with. I played with both of them in high school, but the one guy played with me in college. Another guy was at a different school. We would train together in the summer, so I kind of would always put our program together every summer. So that's kind of how I got into like tinkering and learning different stuff. And like I said, the horrible Evo program I put together, it worked. I mean, we got great results, but it was not good. I mean, it was horrible. But so then I just kind of continued with that. After I graduated, I did like some substitute teaching. I got my master's in exercise science as well. I did an internship as part of that down at Athletes Performance in Florida before it was Exos. So I got to learn from them. Worked with the Combine group. That was the year that Sam Bradford went #1, so he was down there with us. So learned a ton from them. Came back, got into, strength and conditioning with high schools. Got a teaching job, did some coaching, strength and conditioning, and, football, basketball, track. Got out of teaching, went full-time into strength and conditioning, then got back into teaching, but strength and conditioning was always, something that I was doing on the side at some point. So that's kind of where I am now. It's always going to be something that I like doing and learning about, and just enjoy it.
So if you were to, let's just say, Anthony Saletti's like ideal athlete, okay, to train, all right, to train, okay, what are some of the qualities you would particularly look for? I mean, and the reason I've got a reason for asking that, which I'll get into after I hear your answer.
Well, I mean, I really enjoy working with the high school kids. I just think it's a time where you can have a really big impact and set, good habits with them. So I really enjoy that. I mean, I like working with the Combine prep guys just because that's, high level and really fun. But I think really giving the high school kids the resources that they need to be successful. Because I know when I was in high school, we didn't have all this performance training and stuff. You were just kind of on your own. Like there weren't as many resources. There wasn't Instagram and everything, which Instagram has the good and the bad, but there weren't that many resources available. So I like being able to be that help for these high school athletes.
Okay. So, as far as like, the reason I asked for like particular qualities, because even among the high school athletes, because I work with a whole bunch of them, you still run into the exact same things that you would with any other population, right? Different levels of motivation, different levels of maturity, different levels of the most important thing, discipline, right? Obviously, and the others who might actually really want to, who really want to play at a high level, but just maybe they don't have the talent to, unless they train like an Adam Archuleta did in the Freak of Training video, right? Unless they train like that, they're not gonna be good enough. Do you know the athlete I'm talking about? The type person I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. Are there certain personality types that you find like, okay, this person's going to be successful? I don't care how talented they are. Is this is the type person I really like to work with? I really enjoy working with.
Yeah, the athletes that really are driven and are committed are always the most fun to work with. The ones that are going to listen, they're going to do stuff outside that you tell them to do. Because, if they come 2 days a week, that's 2 hours maybe I'm working with them. So the ones that are going to do more stuff outside, they're going to worry about what they eat. They're going to make sure they sleep. They're not up till 1 o'clock in the morning. Like those type of athletes are really fun to work with just because you can truly help them and that they really want it.
So do you tend to find that they are also the ones who tend to improve the most or tend to be a little bit closer to reaching whatever their objective is than say, man, I know it sounds like it sounds like a dumb question, but I know John's run into athletes like this all the time where, there are those freak shows out there, right?
Yeah.
There's the freak shows are out there that I don't care what they do. I don't care who trains them. They're going to be elite no matter what. Now they might fall off, of that elite level sooner than they should. But we also run into those overachievers, and so that's, I guess that that's kind of who I have learned, like at least in what I do, that's who I really love working with the most is is those like, okay, I want to be that overachiever. I want to be that Adam Archuleta. Yeah, I want to, they may not mention him by name, but using that as an example. So,
yeah, I mean, those are great athletes to work with because, like you said, I mean, obviously part of what we do is coaching. You got to have some motivation, but you don't want to have to be a cheerleader every day to get people to train hard. So that's why it's great when you have those motivated athletes like that.
absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit about your style. So obviously started back in the dungeon in the garage doing the NC State stuff.
Yep.
And then how did it kind of evolve from there? I mean, I know you said you did, the bastardized Evo training, but when you started out actually coaching athletes, what was your system like? And then what were kind of those next steps for you to evolve to where you are now? And then I want to talk about how you do things now.
Okay. Yeah, I started, when I started reading heavily, I mean, it was big Buddy Morris, James Smith, Charlie Francis, that type of stuff. So that's kind of where I really started with that, kind of adapting that. Then a little bit of Cal Dietz. I had a triphasic phase, which I feel like everyone did that read that book.
I think everybody has,
Yeah.
So did some of that, and then a really big influence on me was Dr. Yes's, and particularly through Jeff Moyer, who's a Pittsburgh. He works in Pittsburgh. He's a Buffalo guy, but he works in Pittsburgh, and he learned directly under Doc. So I learned a ton from him with the 1x20 system, which I still use a lot as well. And just recently learning more about the Evo system. Dan Dixon's been someone that I've learned a lot from, who trained under Jay for a while. He was actually there when Adam was training. So I learned a lot from him. So I've kind of molded some 1x20 with some Evo and kind of made it into a mash of some different things that I like to use.
Let's go back to the 1x20 system a little bit.
I was saying the same way. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Let's talk about that, because I know there's probably a bunch of people that don't know a lot about that. So share your insights on that one.
Okay, so just basically there's a lot of different ways that you can go with it flexibility-wise, but the basic thing is you start with a bunch of different exercises. You're trying to hit every joint in the body, and you're just doing one set of 20 reps. And let's say this week, okay, I did 200 pounds on squat. I got 20 reps. The next week, you add 5 pounds. And you just continue to do that until the gains start to level off where you're not getting 20 reps anymore. And then there you can go a couple different ways. You can change the exercises and stay with the 20 reps. So you go from a back squat to a front squat or a Bulgarian, something like that, and keep it at 20, or you can drop the rep range down to 14. So you're increasing the intensity. So you still just slowly add weight, but the same thing, you run that process through 14s. Then you can go down to, some people do one set of 8, some people do a set of 8 and then a set of 14. So there's some different ways you can go through it, but it's basically just, it's a GPP system. It's just, instead of you doing 4 sets of 5, you're doing 1 set of 20. So it's just a different way to look at it. And it works well because you don't have to spend as much time in the weight room, so you can have more time for your sprints, your jumps, med ball throws, things like that. And once you get through all of that, you can get to the point where you start doing VBT stuff, where you say, okay, we're strong enough, we need to start moving some things faster.
Go ahead,
So
Chris.
in the case of isn't it like part of the whole reason also of the 1x20 is you're trying to hit like every part of that force velocity curve.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
I mean, that's actually part of the whole point of a 1x20.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't have to worry about hitting this separately than this because you're hitting it all.
Exactly. Yeah. So like for a set of 20, what I've been told is like, okay, your first reps are like kind of your speed power because you're moving faster. But when you get to reps, 17 through 20, when it's really hard, it's the equivalent of moving like a maximal load. Like all the motor units and muscle fibers got to be firing then.
Right. John, you know who used that system that you and I interviewed that never aired? That was George Benet. Jorge Benet.
Really?
Yes, they utilize a lot of multi-directional type exercise training with pure motion but he primarily used as a training system a 1x20 methodology, even though his exercises were totally unique. But it was using that whole methodology, and that was the whole point behind it. I want to hit every aspect of that force velocity curve.
And that's what I was going to ask next, was like, what was the reasoning behind this type of 1x20? Is that the reason to hit every aspect along the force velocity curve, or was there some other underlying reason behind it?
Yeah, I mean that's my understanding, what I've been told, I mean, I never got to talk to Doc whenever, he was still alive, but I mean, I've read his stuff, and just talking through Jeff and Joseph Johnson through Ultimate Athlete Concepts, he worked directly with
he's
Doc
awesome
as well. And so just hearing those guys talk, and I've talked to some different guys that have used it as well. And I mean, I've seen great results. I used it specifically with, I make the programming for a football team that's a couple hours away, because the guy that's the head coach I actually taught in high school and coached. And I mean, they've seen outstanding results. I've done pretty much all 1x20 with some ISO stuff in there. And I mean, he's seen great results. The injuries have been almost non-existent, and I mean, their strength numbers are through the roof. It took a little bit to convince the kids, because it's so much different. Like, you tell a kid, oh, we're going to hit one set of 20, and they're like, I don't know. But you give it, 4 or 5 weeks, and they start to see they're getting stronger, they're jumping better, they're running faster, and it just kind of takes off from there.
Well, that's something I want to circle back to, is convincing the kids. That's a very interesting topic that
it is. Absolutely.
I want to dig into. But before, because I feel like within the last within the last few years, that has become a significant challenge. But I want to go back to the program real quick. What is the plan of attack with it? Are you doing this 1x20 in like almost like a rest pause type of approach, or like what's your weight selection and how do you go about that?
I've done, for the most part, I don't do like a rest pause. Sometimes I'll do it for like pull-ups or something like that, because I mean, how many people can really do 20 straight pull-ups?
I know I can. That's a fact.
So I'll say, hey, do as many as you can, come down, take a couple breaths, go back up. But mostly I tell them, for the first week, be super conservative with the weights that you have, because if it's super easy, then that's fine. Maybe we add 10 pounds for the next week instead of 5. But if we bite off more than we can chew in the first week, and you're cooked at 17 or something, then we got to kind of go back to the drawing board. So I always say, first week, I'd rather you do something that's too easy than to do something that's going to bury you.
And so what is your target there? I mean, I know 20 is there, but I guess that's what I'm saying. Like, are you trying to get to, on your first set, you're trying to get to 15, and then you're trying to grind out the last 5? Like, I guess I'm just trying to get an idea of almost like a percentage type of approach.
Percentage-wise, it'd probably be around like 55, 60 to start, and then I just let them build from there, because it also helps them kind of groove that pattern as well. So it gives them that motor learning aspect where they're doing multiple repetitions of the exercise. So I try to be super conservative. Like I said, I'd rather them be too light than too heavy, and then once they get comfortable and the weeks start rolling, I mean, it just kind of runs itself.
Just kind of along that train of thought, though, and this is, again, just where I have seen it in practice, and it does work. And that is those last 5 or so, John, that you were talking about, those last 4 or 5 reps. They ought to be noticeably a little bit slower than the first 15. I mean, if rep 20 is just as fast as rep 1, yeah, it's probably way too light. Yeah, they're probably, yeah. But if it's, they're starting to slow down at like rep 6, that weight's definitely too heavy, So that's just, again, how I've seen that worked in the past. But yeah, 1x20, there's no question. It's like, that was, it's brilliant if you think about it in its simplicity.
Yeah, it's super simple, and I mean, you can apply it a lot of different ways. Like, you can do 3 total body sessions, you can go upper lower. Like, I've seen it done multiple ways. Like, some of the guys I've talked to, they'll start 3 total body sessions, and then as it starts to get heavier, once they go to 14s, they'll go to an upper lower split. So I mean, there's a framework, but there's a lot of different ways that you can go about doing it. So I mean, all these guys have had like their own flavor and touches of how they apply the system.
How do you like to apply the system?
I mean, I've done it with total body. I've also done it, upper lower split. With that football team, I go upper lower split just because that's what the coach wants. He wants to have 4 lifting days, so do it that way. But I mean, I've seen it work in any situation. It just depends on like how many days a week do you have, how much time do you have, and all of that.
What's kind of an ideal amount of exercises to put in there?
I mean, usually it's around like 10 to 15, but I know sometimes people go higher. They'll go like 15 to 20, but that's really where you're adding in, like, that can be like your rotator cuff stuff, 2 different types of calf raises, eversion, inversion on the ankle. So it can be whatever you want. Like, you can hit your main big rock exercises and then kind of go joint by joint with that as well. So, I mean, I usually like 10 to 15, somewhere around there, but I know some people do more, especially, I mean, this is also good for people that just want to get a quick session in and you have a bunch of machines. You pick 15, 20 of those, hit a set of 20, you're done in 30 minutes, 35 minutes,
Yeah.
you know?
All right, so I'm going to kind of take this just a different route. John, did you have anything else on the 1x20?
No, I didn't. I just wanted to dig
Okay.
into it a little bit more. So now we're good.
Yeah,
Let's keep going.
it's funny that you said that, because when you mentioned 1x20, I was like, if we did more lifting than we do, if more of the stuff we did in here was pure lifting, I would definitely do the 1x20 with just about everything, up until someone proved that they were beyond that,
It's just
but
so
1x20s.
simple and it works, but some people don't want to try it because they think like, oh, one set of 20, like, I don't know about that, but it just,
Yeah, it does sound kind of weird.
it works. Yeah, it's different than what people usually do. It's the same thing when I think people hear about, some of the Evo stuff. We're like, oh, we're not doing any weights. We're just doing long ISO holds. And they're like, man, I don't know about that. Like, it's the same kind of idea. But once you try it and let it run, I mean, I've seen it work unbelievably.
So but kind of back to, you just mentioned Evo. So you mentioned that you had a bastardized freak of training. Okay, so explain what you did. What was and by the way, I'll preface this to the listening audience. Anthony said that this is a bastardized program, so we're not recommending that anybody follow it this way, okay? But I do want to hear what you did.
Click on our link in the comments to buy the program.
Yeah, program available now.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, I'm just kind of getting an idea of what was Anthony's and friends, bastardized version of this?
Yeah, it was, so, I mean, we took pretty much everything from the DVD, and I just tried to kind of plug and play. We still did like a regular squat and bench and I think we still cleaned just because we were going to have to clean whenever we went back to school. But we were doing the low squat foot jumps with the different variations with the jump to the lunge or the speed rushing. And we just kind of increased the time. Like, I think we started like 30 seconds and worked up to sets of 45, which was just horrible. But we did that. We did some altitude drops. We didn't go super high with those. We kept those only around like maybe like 24 to 30 inches.
Mm-hmm.
We did all the different bench variations, like the rebound bench, EDI with the partners. We did the plyo push-ups. We did the Nordics, which we didn't have like a Nordic machine. We had like one of those sit-up boards that we could kind of rig up and put our feet underneath that. We did that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that was pretty much everything we did. I mean, we did some of the rebound curls, and pretty much everything on that DVD we plugged and played some sort of way. And I mean, like I said, end of the summer, we all were strong, explosive, running fast. I mean, it was awesome, but I mean, it was not well designed at all.
You didn't have any kind of real systematic method of putting things together. You just kind of, I feel like doing this one today, or sort of.
Yeah, well, I mean, we kind of just, like, we put it in, like, I think we did 4 days. So we had set days where we were doing things, but there wasn't like really like a progression or anything like that.
Well, yeah. Anyway, the reason why I'm asking is, and this is one of the things I try to, promote whenever we're, especially training a group of athletes in season. And you mentioned the things like the ISO extremes earlier. And that is, we put somebody through we could take them to failure on ISO extremes. Yet an hour later, well, let me back up. They're exhausted. Okay. Yeah. I'm I can't move my arms, whatever. I can't move my legs. And, 30 minutes later, they're in practice and haven't missed a beat. They're it's like, it literally is something that you can recover with so fast if you do it the correct way. But I guess that's probably also even the more explosive things, like you would see in say in that video, Freak of Training, done correctly. Which again, I mean, there's a lot of bad techniques. I mean, John and I discussed that on what will, as of right now, will be last week's podcast. There's a lot of bad ways to do things, right? And anytime you do something poorly, then the rules don't apply. Yeah, you might need a couple of days off to recover. You do things correctly. You do things a certain way. Now you're ready to go. And John, was it Ryan Paul I think it was Ryan Paul that we had on the podcast a while back who said that he literally tested that theory with somebody who had done CrossFit. I mean, he's not knocking CrossFit, but
I think I remember what you're talking about. I do think that was Ryan that said something.
That episode. Yeah.
Okay, so he's talking about, okay, we had this person who intentionally wanted to do CrossFit and how absolutely taxed his body was, and put him on I think it was the Omega Wave or Aura Ring or something to measure their readiness, I guess you'd say. And there were reds everywhere. And then they did, I think he said, John, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but it was like one exercise of iso extremes, maybe it was 2 for 5 minutes, and they're fine. They're all green.
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
But
I don't.
But I remember the story. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, I would imagine that even a properly executed program, you would have had that same result. You would have been, regardless of which one of those bastardized exercises you picked that particular workout, if you had executed them properly, you would have had that same effect.
Yeah, I think we would have gotten even better results. Honestly, I mean, we were 20 years old, so I mean, anything you do is going to work. But I think if we would have done it properly, the results would have been, however many times better.
And I may say something kind of controversial here, and maybe we'll edit this out. I don't know. But isn't that kind of part of the beauty of that style of training, though? Is like, yes, there are progressions, and absolutely, we talked about that last episode, but just the system in and of itself, and using the body in the manner it's meant to be used, like, you're going to get results from it. Yeah.
Yeah. And to go back what Chris was saying about, the ISOs and the recovery, with the place that I work in the summer, we would get so the guy I work with also trains the local football team there. So those kids could come, other days and say, well, we want to do, another strength day. And it would just be nothing but ISOs. I'd write them up a specific thing. We'd kind of change it up here and there, but like just something to kind of bring them back. And I mean, they would start coming in other days and be like, hey, can we just do ISOs today? Like, I feel a little beat up or whatever. Can we do? So they like,
I get that all the time. Yes.
They hate doing it. And they know I'm going to cook them up something that, they're not going to like it when they're doing it. But they know it makes them feel better and helps them recover.
I believe it was Dr. J. No, it was Dr. J. And I want to say it was on maybe one of our podcasts with him, or it was Dr. J regardless, John Pietola, John's mentor. And it was, he kept referring to some of why these ISO extremes are so beneficial. And again, I'm going to paraphrase what he said, but so much of traditional type strength training, it's going to get you strong. It's going to get the muscle strong. But especially if your big focus is on the concentric part of a lift, and how much weight you lift, and you negate the tendon strengthening aspect, that Golgi tendon organ, that receptor, is going to always limit how much output that tendon is going to let that muscle actually output. Mm-hmm. And where I've noticed it, where that really kicks in, is especially when you try to take somebody who trained slow and heavy, and then they try to transfer it over to a sport that's fast. That's where you see that Golgi tendon organ's like, oh crap, no, I'm not letting you have that. Mm-hmm. And it's okay. I realize I'm kind of getting into the sciencey stuff here, but I mean, have you, in any of your discussions with, say, Dr. Yesus or any of the other guys, I mean, have y'all gotten into any kind of stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to Jeff, and he'll use like a spectrum of different things, like especially with like his plyo progression, things like that. He'll use ISOs for whether it's just a lunge ISO, or he'll do stuff for Achilles health. And some different exercises that Doc would use as well. One of the things is a delay squat, where you can do dumbbells or barbell, or if you even want to hold a trap bar, but it's basically there'll be like 5 different pauses on the way down, but you're taking like 3 or 4 or 5 seconds to go down, hit that point, hold, pull down further, hold, pull down further. And then after the last one, you do actually like an explosive jump. And that's something that's obviously comes further along once you get through, 20s, 14s, 8s, all of that. So there's some other things that they use. I know Jeff incorporates some of the K-Box stuff with the flywheel. He'll do some of that stuff as well.
Gotcha.
All right. I really want to dig into the statement you made earlier about convincing kids.
I think I hijacked that part of the conversation.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Well, no, that's what I said. I wanted to circle back to that because I thought that was
Yep.
a really good point. I don't want to lose that point
Yeah.
because I think we've talked about this in a couple episodes before, but I find your insight on it, Anthony, very valuable, especially being a coach and a teacher, like in a school setting as well. I've noticed in the last few years, it's almost becoming more and more difficult to convince kids that you even know what you're talking about. You know, what are your thoughts on I just want to hear it.
Yeah, I mean, there's some of that, and I think part of that goes with all this stuff on social media. Like, you get, 20 different posts where, like, this is the right way and this is wrong, or this is the right way and this is wrong, or you need to do this, or so on and so forth, which, I mean, it's a blessing and a curse because the people that have a platform that know what they're talking about and put out good stuff is fantastic. But, I mean, with social media, everyone has a voice, and not everyone should have a voice on certain things. But with the kids, I mean, I feel like it's just establishing that relationship with them and showing that you want what's best for them. And sometimes, okay, I give them some stuff that they want to do or think they need to do, and then I slowly kind of work in, like, after a few weeks, after, they know more about me and what I'm all about, and I can be like, hey, why don't we try this, or why don't we try this, and kind of incorporate things slowly in like that. Or like I said, with the 1x20, when I first used that with guys that I had trained in the past, and it was so different, I was like, guys, give it 4 weeks. That's all I ask. If you don't like where you're at 4 weeks, I'll let you go back to what we were doing before. And after 4 weeks, they were like, no, this is good. Let's let it ride.
Well, you're nicer than me because I usually just put them through EDIs or do a 5-minute ISO, and it's like, shut up, I know more than you.
I mean, depending on the kid, sometimes, like, listen.
You're a better coach than I am.
Just do it.
Right.
No, but yeah, I mean, I've definitely noticed that. I mean, obviously, teenagers are teenagers. I mean, we've all been there, and we all think we know everything, but it's definitely gotten worse. Like I'll have kids come in all the time, be like, "Oh, well, I have this problem, but it's because of this and this and this." It's like, oh, okay, I'm sure it is. That's great. But
I think there's just so many.
There's so much.
So many
out
extra
there.
voices. Like without social media, I mean, you would have like limited. So you have like, your coach, your parents, your family, maybe your trainer. That's 4 or 5 voices. Now, I mean, it's endless, really.
Yeah, it really is, and so that just makes the buy-in process a lot harder. And I think I know I've talked to a couple people before. I think I've struggled with it as well. Chris, I imagine you have as well. Trying to help these kids get buy into the program, because I mean, especially if you're using a system in the manner like kind of which we use it, there requires a lot of buy-in to it. There's got to be that mental component, that pipes component, but if they're not willing to get there because you're not a big voice on social media, you obviously don't know what you're talking about. And I'm not saying I'm talking about all of us, right? But if we're not a big voice on social media, we don't know what we're talking about. So it makes the process of our job that much more difficult.
I'm sorry, Anthony. No, you go ahead, Anthony. Sorry about that.
I was just going to say, kind of to go along with that, it's also sometimes they get kind of a skewed view of how long it takes to get results.
Yes.
Like, if you really want to improve, like, it's not going to happen in 2 weeks. Like, you might get a little bit better, or maybe, you get rid of some residual fatigue or something like that. But to get, like, concrete, like, long-term change, like, it takes some time. You gotta train hard. You got to put some work in order to get those results. It doesn't happen. You come 2 days a week for 2 weeks. Like, I mean, I'm not a magician. I mean, I can do some stuff, but, I mean, it's only so much.
Right. Yeah, and John, to your point just a minute ago, and that is you're talking about all these different influences, all these different voices in their head, in addition to social media. But, with the possible exception of football, almost every single one of the athletes that we see, I jokingly say they play 14 months out of the year. Mm-hmm. And I mean that seriously in some ways, because a lot of these seasons overlap. Mm-hmm. Like they'll be playing on 2 different soccer clubs at the same time, for example. Soccer being one of the big offenders, and you got
soccer,
volleyball's, and it's like, I get it. It's a very high skill type you've got to acquire a lot of skill to be good at this, but at the same time, it's like, there's we want to make sure that we're not interfering with all these different, again, 14 months out of the year type programs that they're on, but also, the influences and everything else. So yes, I mean, John, to your point a minute ago, yeah, I mean, a ton of voices, a ton of, information going into their head from a whole bunch of different angles.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess maybe I'm asking you to coach me a little bit here, Anthony. Like, I value your opinion as somebody who's in not just the private sector, but also, the school setting as well. It's like, how have you had to change your approach to handle this change? I mean, because, all right, guys, listen, I tend to be sarcastic. So no, I don't always just make guys do EDIs or 500 ISOs if they piss me off. Not always. But like, how have you had to change your approach, or have you? Like, how do you help get these kids to buy in?
With the private sector, just really communicating with them. So like, if they have practices, games, like, talk to me. Like, if you have a practice after this training session, let me know, and we're not going to, destroy you. Like, just that open line of communication, but also talking to them like, hey, maybe one less practice a week and one more, session of like development, so we can actually get you, the extra horsepower you need for whether it's jumping or if you're a softball pitcher, things that are going to help them, and just kind of continuing to have that communication with them to try to let them see the light. And sometimes it happens quickly, sometimes it takes a little longer, sometimes it doesn't happen at all. But I mean, you just got to keep trying. I
guess we just need to have bigger social media followings.
Yeah,
yeah, there you go.
So follow us, guys, so we can all stay in business.
Solves everything.
You're right.
Offer that product.
Link in bio.
Yeah. Yep. So, all right. If I remember, now you still got some pretty serious hops too now, don't you?
I'm trying. I'm holding on for dear life right now, Joe.
Yeah. Hey, I see you, man. Like, you are. So what are you doing right now? What does your training look like right now?
Right now, it's a mix of 1x20 and Evo, because I was working with Dan Dixon for about a year and a half, all Evo stuff, and then, learned a lot. It was awesome. I just kind of wanted to, there's some other things that I kind of wanted to try and experiment with. Been doing that. It's been going all right. I'm still, trying to fight Father Time the best I can, and, just trying to be athletic, because, I love the sprinting, jumping, and I just love constantly trying to tinker with things to see. If it's going to work on me, I know it's going to work on, a younger athlete that, has a little less mileage than I have.
Mm-hmm. What are some things that you're like, what's on the horizon for you, like, as far as your training or your programming? Like, have you dug into any new concepts that you like, and you got any new toys you're playing with?
As far as like toys, I got a OVR jump, which I think is awesome for measuring jump, because I always wanted, like a just jump map, but I was like, I don't want to carry that around. Like, if I got to take that at the gym with me, and then the OVR, they had like a sale, and I said, no, I'm getting this. Like, and it's awesome. It's so easy to carry around, and just to get that instant feedback, because I did used to use the old My Jump app on the phone to measure, and I had that. It just took so long to do like one jump, and then you're moving it frame by frame for the takeoff and the landing, and I was like, you know what, it just takes too long. I don't want to do that.
All right, this is 2 weeks in a row, John, that we have now mentioned OVR, so we're
yeah, come on, Michael, I even had you on the show, man. Can you give me a little bit of a sponsorship here? Like something?
Yeah,
because I own all your products now. So
yeah, I love it. And I would get the sprint gates, but I have like gates that work well enough for me, and I just can't,
What gates do you have?
Arena Gear.
Yeah,
and it's worked well, and their customer service has been great, so I continue to use that. But as far as like other training things, I'm just still digging into Evo stuff and trying to refine 1x20 with some different ideas, and trying some different things just to see what I can get out of myself output wise, and health wise as well.
I do think, OVR is going to kind of change the game, because they got a market that was much needed. Equipment, it's like I don't have the budget to have an iPad at every cage I have, or I just don't. And so to be able to have something like a Tendo unit, basically, and then to have the jump, and then now to have the gates, like it's been 120 degrees down here for the last 4.5 months, so I haven't even had a chance to use them yet. But like I just set them up in my gym, and they're so simple, very easy. No, the company Chris and I were both with prior, they were great. I had no issue with them whatsoever. They were awesome. Their service was great. Their products are top of the line, but it was just too much for a small business like us.
Very expensive.
Yeah, it's just
Very
on a
expensive.
continuing fee. It's just too much.
Right.
Some facilities can do that, but we're not one of those. But yeah, I've been really pleased with the OVR stuff. Like, so are you just using it for verticals, or are you doing other stuff with it as well?
Vertical, I've done a little bit of the depth jump stuff, a little bit of the like RSI, just kind of playing around with it, but mostly for the vertical and like depth jump.
Yeah, so you're kind of like me. I'm just kind of playing around with it as far as the ground contact times and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of starting now that I have the tools to be able to do that. I mean, I used to be able to do it visually, but I just never really trusted myself or trusted the measurements all the time.
But think about, also, now with that one device you were talking about, that basically you have a Tendo unit.
Yeah.
If there is a situation where you do want to go more velocity based on your weight training versus your just measuring how much weight's on the bar, now you can do that. With let's face it, what was it like? Very inexpensively, I'll put it that way. Nothing gets a Tendo unit, but what was it $2,000? $2,000.
They're great. They're like $1,500-$1,700, I think. Yeah.
Right. So, it's like, yeah, they do it OVR is a lot more budget friendly, but this, by the way, I know we're not trying to blow smoke up Michael's butt with this whole OVR thing, but
no,
still,
I've already given him all my money. I bought it all, so he can't.
Yeah, there you go.
You can't do anything else for me, Michael. If you hear this, I already bought all your stuff.
Yep.
But no, I think it's going to change the game. I think especially in the small sector, kind of like I guess all of us are, because now we have a lot more ability to to record and to program a lot more specifically to certain needs, like in a velocity based training setting. I mean, we had that one guy on a long time ago. Who was it, Chris? When I get him?
Brian Mann. Yes,
Brian
Dr.
Mann.
Mann.
Yeah,
Yes,
Dr. Mann.
yes.
Yeah, I want to get him back on. That was through no fault of his own. I think he was going through some health things at that time, so we just
Yes.
an episode we need to re-record. But
yeah, we did not publish that episode. Great information, but yes, there were like you said, not for reasons beyond his control.
Yeah,
yes.
absolutely. Yeah, no doubt. But like, do you do much velocity based stuff?
No, just because I don't have a way to measure it right now. So and with most of the kids, I'm just worried about them moving the bar well and having good form. Because for some of them, if I would tell them, hey, move this as fast as you can, it might be a train wreck.
Yeah. Sure.
I can
Sure.
understand that.
Right.
Yeah. So like, what are, like, going back to the program a little bit, like with your kids, like what are your main lifts? Like, I mean, do you coach Olympic lifting with these guys, or do you keep it basic, like squats and bench and deadlift?
Mostly basic, squat, bench, deadlift. We'll do different ISO holds. And depending on the age, like, I mean, most of the younger kids, they'll do nothing but ISO stuff until, we feel confident enough with them to where, hey, we'll add some load and we'll start with, basic goblet squats and things like that. But to go along, there's one kid, I think he's 13 now. He started with us when he was 9 or 10. He's done nothing but like ISOs. He'll do a 5-minute wall sit with a 90-pound weight. The kid only weighs like 85 pounds. Like he's a machine, but he's one of those kids, Chris, where he'll do whatever you ask him to do. Like he was the most detailed 10-year-old I've ever seen in my life. Like when he's there, he does the warm up and then everyone follows him. Like we call him coach.
Nice.
But yeah, so we do, I mean, just a lot of the basic stuff, we'll do some jumping for some complex training in the weight room, but it's mostly, squat, bench, row, pulls, that type of stuff.
Cool. I think that's about all the questions I got. What about you, Chris?
Yeah, I mean that's mostly along that line, but anything I want to share something with you. I mean after we get off the call, just because I think you'll find it some things that will probably intrigue you, because things that you can add to your 1x20. When John and I were mentioning Pure Motion, again another one of our episodes we never aired, but it was great information that I think you would probably be interested in if you're looking to further that 1x20 repertoire, as far as like training. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think the Pure Motion episode was on me. I think that was the first episode we ever recorded. I think
there was a whole bunch of issues on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Jay Schroeder came on next. Yeah.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Well, man, where can people follow you? Anthony, where they can get a hold of you?
Just on Instagram, it's just my name, Anthony Saletti 8180.
Cool. Man, I appreciate you taking time out of your day to join us. It's been good to connect with you again and hear a little bit more about what you do. I think, you guys are doing some great stuff up in Pittsburgh, man. Great stuff.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, Anthony, very much.
Yeah, well, guys, you know the drill. If you got value out of the show, share the show. Spread the message. Peace.
See you guys.